it kind of ties into the current astrology too.
Right.
Because right now we're having eclipses, and we just had this total solar eclipse a couple of days ago. And then we're having eclipses in Sagittarius, Gemini, for the next year, even a little bit into 2022. And there's a push more towards Gemini and a decrease around Sagittarius, like negative qualities of Sagittarius. And Gemini is the facts, it's the details, it's what's real. So I think people need to focus, like when they're sharing information online or sharing conspiracy information, like even if you see like on my Facebook, I rarely post anything from alternative media. If I do, it's from Collective Evolution. Collective Evolution is more solid, right, in their work. But most of the time, the stuff I post is from mainstream media.
Yeah.
Because people interpret mainstream media as fact.
Right.
And whenever I'm posting stuff online, like a lot of people that follow me are conspiracy people, and they're gonna always like my stuff. They're always high-fiving me, but I'm also always keeping in mind all the people that I'm friends with and follow me that are not conspiracy people,
right.
like, you know, friends, family, things like that. I'm always keeping them in mind when I post stuff. It's about them, really. And when you post stuff that they interpret as fact because they heard it from the mainstream media, then I just put my own commentary and I'm just connecting the dots. And I think that's the approach people got to take, because the shadow or the negative of Sagittarius is just spewing your beliefs without facts, and always looking at the big picture and not looking at the details and opinions, judgments, like, you know, and it goes on both sides. Even if you're a blue-pilled person, like a lot of red-pilled people, conspiracy people, are sharing a lot of bullshit too.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So a lot of the blue-pilled people are like calling them out on their bullshit and saying, no, that's bullshit, right? And this is why, and they're right. But then it goes both ways. And then the blue-pilled people are a lot of them are like just sharing what they believe, which is not backed by facts. Yeah. And then people like us, who are more level-headed conspiracy people, will prove them wrong and be like, with facts, right? Right. So it's happening on both sides of the argument, right? But I think just people listening, people that are active information war activists, that's what they should really focus on. Stop sharing things that are harder to prove or questionable, or check your sources. And a lot of conspiracy people shoot themselves in the foot, and they I don't want to be associated with a lot of, like, I get a lot of those people follow me and they like my stuff, you know, and it's good, they support what I'm doing, but at the end of the day, you know, we got to differentiate from those people, and we gotta like, if we want to be effective, you know, because those people are just constantly preaching to the choir. So
100%. I agree. I think it's important. I kind of see a cultural shift starting to happen in a big way. And I was going to ask you this question, like even like 10 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago. And then it kind of just sort of came up now, which is good. But like sort of how you were talking about the shift in energy from, I think you just said it was this Sagittarius and kind of bringing in the Gemini, which is bringing in a little bit more of the fact. Is that correct?
Yeah. This is like for a couple of years. Yeah. It's more like just look at it like this: there's shifts going on with Gemini and Sagittarius energy, but the focal point is Gemini.
Right.
And anything that has Sagittarian qualities should be of service to the Gemini focal point. So Gemini is the facts, it is the details, it's what's immediate.
Right.
So when you share a news article that has to do with something that happened locally or whatever, that's immediate. That's Gemini. It's and people interpret it as fact. But if you share like some crazy theory about, like, you know, reptilian overlords, that's more Sagittarius, even though it might be true. Yeah. It's too broad. Sagittarius is broad-minded, right? And so anything that you do share, talk about that's kind of broad-minded should be backed up by Gemini facts or things that are more relevant or relatable.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, because it's kind of like I see this culture building. Yeah. Where, and I think it's still, you know, kind of small, where it's like people are really looking for that. Like even from people that might, you know, what you're saying, like blue-pilled people, or like people that haven't really spent a lot of time looking at conspiracy. I've even seen a lot of those people reach out over the past year saying like, hey, like, you know, I'm kind of like starting to explore some of this stuff. And they like see for that because it's a very grounded perspective. They can share it with their friends and not feel like it's like, you know, complete mumbo jumbo. But amongst CE is all these other sites and all these other videos and all this other stuff that people are sending them, that it's so hard to believe the stuff that's going on. But what I'm saying is there's this culture building where there are a lot of people that are quote unquote mainstream thinking that are like, okay, I see conspiracy exists, but I want to explore this in the same way I might explore something like that's like from mainstream media, where it feels like, hey, I'm actually looking at the facts. I'm actually looking at the legitimacy. And I really do think that's kind of the future. It's both now and then in the next couple of years is really starting to look at a lot of conspiracy from that higher quality point of view, which is great for us because we've been doing that for so long. But it is creating the divide in the conspiracy community, like you were saying before, where like I wrote an essay called Conspiriality Time for a serious conversation, because the idea was to kind of say like, look, I'm seeing this community shoot itself in the foot all the time. And I almost wonder, like the questions, the reflections I was trying to bring up was like, do people realize that it's not that people are just asleep, that they don't believe them when they share something, but that the way you're sharing it or the information you're sharing is really not as solid as you might think it is.
Yeah.
And so I see this culture building of people wanting to be a lot more like, okay, what is actually going on? And let me develop my thinking, and let me be more critical in my thinking, and let me have, balanced inquiry on both sides of the coin here and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's good. I think it's a good thing that's happening. And to hear that there's kind of like this, the focal point example you just used was fascinating, because it's kind of like, Gemini's focal point is this. And so Sagittarius, so how'd you say it again? Like Sagittarius has to serve that focal point in a sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Like Sagittarius energy, it's not like we're not abandoning Sagittarian energy. It's just we're in a time right now where the Sagittarian energy should be of service to the focal point in a positive way.
Right.
Right. So Sagittarius.
So the big picture focuses on the facts in a positive way, because you said Sagittarius is kind of big picture.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Yeah, it's big picture. It's broad-minded. Right. So I'll give you an example. Like when I post stuff, it's like it's like one thing's linked to the other. Like I have this broad-minded perspective on things, and we share similar perspective, but I'm sharing certain details and facts that support that broad-minded perspective.
Right.
So I'll post. So if people were to look at my Facebook posts from now, since the pandemic started, they're gonna see like everything most of my posts support each other. So I'm sharing factual stuff, or what people will perceive as factual from mainstream media, and so all these that is immediate, that's relatable, but all those factual pieces are part of a bigger broad-minded perspective.
Right.
So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. It makes sense.
But you got to be careful. People got to be careful of the negative qualities of Sagittarius, because the negative qualities of Sagittarius without the Gemini focal point is going nowhere.
Right.
Because it's just going around in circles. So the negative of Sagittarius is like, I know the truth. This is the absolute truth.
Right.
I have the answers. This is, and people got to be, even like when we're talking now, like with the way we're talking about this stuff, some of the things I'm saying, like when I talk about the astrology and I say, well, maybe we're in an age of Aquarius, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
If I said to you, yeah, we're 100% age of Aquarius for sure, then that would be negative Sagittarian, because that would be saying this is an absolute truth.
Right.
But I'm saying, I'm looking at the facts. Like we're going into this Aquarian 20-year cycle, and maybe it can be in the age of Aquarius. I'm not sure. That's how we need to approach, even when we're talking about conspiracies and